You better finish quickly, or I will make your skin into a new rug and step on it every time I get out of bed.
Hello and welcome to this channel, Lord of Fantasy, in English. Today's story is intended for adults only, as it involves disturbing events and crimes. I took several photos of the scarecrow and the surrounding ones, and we started to head back with quick steps, but suddenly Laura and I fell to the ground. We had entered a long, large tunnel, which was lit up, and there seemed to be someone passing through it every day. I took several photos of the tunnel and told Laura we need to go back to the car quickly. We ran as fast as we could to the car, got inside, and I started driving toward the right arm. Laura said to me, "Why are you still heading toward the right arm? We should go back to the station and tell the others." I told her, "Don't use the radio or tell anyone, not even from the station." Laura was very surprised. She asked me why I told her not to worry about telling anyone about this. I told her that we are newcomers to this village, and we don't know who might be involved in this matter. I told her to keep it to herself, and that no matter who asked her about anything strange she saw on the road, whether it's about the scarecrow, the tunnel, or anything else, we never stopped on the road. We kept going straight towards the right arm of the village and never saw anything strange. We will investigate this matter ourselves and in completely secrecy. After we arrived at the right arm of the village, we continued our patrol and nothing unusual happened. We asked about the officer Cindy, and strangely, no one in the right arm village or even her family had seen her for 2 full weeks. It was as if she disappeared when going from the police station to the right arm. When this thought crossed my mind, I remembered the tunnel I had seen. It was a very suspicious and frightening tunnel, even terrifying for old officer like me. It scared me a lot. We continued our patrol around the village and began searching little by little, hoping to find any trace of her. When we extended our search, I started to feel like someone was watching me. I whispered to Laura, "Let's go back to the station now. We won't talk about this scarecrow for a few days. I will tell you when we need to talk about it." Laura asked me, "Why did you stop while we were on the way to the right arm again, and you begin searching the car?" I told her, "I'm checking the car, Laura, because I don't know who my enemy is. It could be from the inside the station, and there could be listening device." She replied, "Don't you suspect me?" I said, "I suspect everyone, even you, Laura. Don't trust anyone, not even me. You didn't even know me until yesterday. Anyway, It might seem strangely that I told you not to trust me, but don't talk about it to anyone. There is no one else, it's just me. Something big is happening in this village, and we need to figure it out. It could be much bigger than we think, and we might need to ask for support from the city. We returned to the police station and filled a report about Cindy's disappearance. The next day, a meeting was held for all police officers to discuss various matters regarding recent patrols and strange event. The police chief David arrived and started speaking.
Hello everyone. It seems everyone is here. I will begin with the latest news on the matter I've been investigating these past days. We found several bodies on the outskirts of the village of Coeur, dumped in a large pit in the middle of the forest behind the village. The bodies were cut into several pieces and it was difficult to identify them. I was working on this case with Brian and Bruce. We discovered that these bodies belong to the missing police officers. The report made by the new recruits, Laura and Jack, is not necessary anymore. Sandy's body is among the dismembered bodies. We were 20 officers here in this station, and 7 of us were killed. And another 7 bodies from the police officers were coming from the city. I interrupted the chief's speech and asked, "Why don't you call for support from the city? A case like this is too big to be solved by just this small number of officers. 13, not included you, to cover this entire village of Coeur. What about the right and left arm as well?" The chief replied, "It seems our new recruit is very eager. Do you think I'm playing games, boy? I've already tried calling the city department and request support. All the lines are cut off and there's no communication with nearby villages. Before anyone asks why, we don't send someone over there after the first 3 officers went missing. I already sent 3 other officers. Sandy was communicating with them through the radio. I saw them with my own eyes, and you saw what happened to these 3 officers and Cindy. Even if we wanted to use the mobile network, is impossible. There are no towers covering our village." I interrupted the chief once more and said, "Not a single tower?" He responded, "Are you going to keep cutting me off, kid? Do you want to be punished? No towers are working. The towers have been completely disabled. We will need to go to a village that's 50 miles away just to be able." After the meeting was over, Laura asked me, "But how we will talk about the secret investigation we will carry out together?" I replied, "I will open a small hole in the wall between the apartments, and you can talk through it without anyone noticing. We will meet in secret." Once I arrived at the apartment, I had something to eat. I knocked on the wall between my apartment and Laura's to let her know I was about to start digging. I opened a small hole big enough to see through. I told Laura to be extra careful and to keep the window closed. Don't open the door for anyone, no matter what happened outside or any sound you hear. And I told Laura about the nightmare I had, explaining to her that I felt it was more than just a nightmare. These nightmares are something else. There's something that the slaughterhouse owners are hiding from us. She asked, "Why do you call them slaughterhouse owner instead of calling them by the company name Cortex?" I told Laura to inform the slaughterhouse owner that it would be easier for each of them to hide something. I'm sure they are behind everything that is happening, but we need to investigate in a different way. Regarding the station, I will give you a wireless device that I brought with me for this special operation. This wireless device can interrupt the police frequencies, and it can also pick up signal from another similar device. You will communicate with me through the other wireless, and you will monitor the slaughterhouse door from the bathroom window. Make sure no one sees you. You will be watching the slaughterhouse door while I go on a patrol without a vehicle. If anything happens, inform me immediately. And if anything urgent happens, I will notify you as well. If anything happens to me, inform the police captain about everything. And if anything is going to happen to you, I will come quickly to help you. Keep your weapon close to you. Don't let it out of reach, and make sure you stay alert. I went to the edge of the village and rode the bike I had brought with me, a special folding bike that can be carried like a bag. I took it and went to the tunnel we found by accident. When I reached the location of the tunnel, I found a group of farmers hovering in that area. Since this investigation was after midnight and the bike had no light, they couldn't see me from a distance. I stopped the bike, folded it, carried it, and moved quietly with light steps, getting as close as I could to them between the cornfields. I got to a small dirt mound where I could see them without being seen. I watched them for about 30 minutes while they were digging a hole around 20 to 30 centimeters deep, then opened a large door upward. It was the entrance to the tunnel. They had hidden it very well, and it was impossible to spot it even if someone passed over it. They entered the tunnel and left a guard. After about half an hour, they brought out more scarecrow and went to place them within the field. I continued to watch them until they finished. Then they started carrying their tools, such as wild animals, shovels, and other agriculture equipment, into the cornfields. I went to check the scarecrow. Yes, just as I thought. They were new human heads. They killed them, and some of them were heads of animals like pigs, horses, or cows. Among them was a mentally unstable person, I'm sure of it, because he was trying to make them look like real scarecrows. From a distance, even if you were a meter away, unless you checked them closely with your hands, you wouldn't notice the difference. But there was one thing in common. He made the eyes of all the scarecrows look like they were glaring at you, watching you intently. I followed them in the cornfields from a distance so they wouldn't feel my presence. They walked for half an hour before turning and continuing for another half hour. They reached a small shack in the middle of the cornfields. The shack was small, appearing to be a single room from the outside, and looked abandoned and broken. They entered and didn't come out, as if they disappeared. I began to approach slowly. I was sure no one had left from any direction, because I had been watching from not far away. The only place I couldn't see from was behind the door of the shack. I hid between the cornfields, as there was an empty space between the cornfield and the house, about 5 to 10 meters from all directions. I decided to get closer. I moved quickly and crouched near the windows or the broken walls. I get even closer, and there was no one inside the house. I looked in all directions, and it was impossible for them to have disappeared. There were more than 15 men. I entered the house, and it was as if they had vanished, like ghosts, with no trace. I started to feel suspicious, and then I smelled a faint, familiar scent. There was something strange, something was out of the place. I searched carefully within the shack, and I found an entrance to another tunnel hidden in the wall. It was a hidden space in the middle of the shack with no roof and an entry to an underground tunnel. I entered the tunnel, which had several large branches. Walking through it for about 5 meters, I found another tunnel extending in all directions. I saw one tunnel illuminated, and I thought, this is the path they took. I followed them. I walked for a long time, about 15 minutes, and finally reached a level. I quietly climbed a staircase, and I could hear them talking. One of them said, "The police in this village are becoming very annoying. They go on many patrols, poking their noses into many things. They're starting to inspect the facility. There's a risk that someone of them will discover something." At that moment, I was sure they were behind the killings. All the bodies, they were the one responsible. Cortex Company, or as I call them, the slaughterhouse owners. But I needed more evidence, so I had to keep listening. Then one of the men standing in the group, looking like an important figure among them, said, "Don't worry about the police. They can't do anything. Even if they suspect something, they are afraid to get involved. Haven't you seen them? They didn't search thoroughly. Let them. If they poke around more, we can hire some of you to join the city police to communicate with the police department there, and we will get rid of them once and for all. The men went on their separate ways. Some of them went to guard the facility, and others went to their homes. I entered the facility and followed the man who seemed to be the leader of them. I saw where he went, and he was the key to getting me to the evidence. I continued following him, hiding from the guard in the facility. Most of them were farmers, and they didn't know how to guard well. They didn't expect anyone to be following them. I kept following him in the slaughterhouse until he reached a room with a decorated door. I got closer, and there were a small window in the middle of the door. I looked inside and saw a man wearing a fancy suit with shining blonde hair, smoking a luxury cigarette. He must have been the mastermind behind all of this. He was yelling at the man I had been following, saying, "Haven't you finished with the police issue? Our clients are waiting for the shipment, and we're behind this month. There's a huge amount of money at stake. We need to be ready. The clothes made from animals and human heads. Haven't you finished them yet? Haven't you finished from the police issues yet?" The man replied, "I will finish with the police issue soon, sir." The man in the fancy suit shouted again, "You better finish quickly, or I will make your skin into a new rug and step on it every time I get out of bed." The other man quickly replied, "Yes, sir." I entered the next room and gathering information as quickly as I could. When I finished, after a few minutes, I returned to the fancy door to hear them more. Maybe I got some clue or evidence more. And then I saw the other man trying to leave quickly when I accidentally bumped into a barrel with the bag I was carrying, the one with the bike inside. They realized someone was spying on them, and the alarms started ringing. Chaos broke out, and everyone began running around looking for the intruder. Me. I ran back into the tunnel I had come from and started running as fast as I could. I ran so fast that the sweat started dropping from my head to bottom of my feet. They were chasing me, but luckily the tunnel was not straight, so they couldn't see me running ahead. I kept running until I reached the spot where I had come from. So I went into another tunnel because they were chasing me. I was chosen quickly and I ran towards it. As I ran fast, they started getting closer to me and released the dogs after me. The dogs will catch me. I can't escape. I tripped and fall into a large pit filled with blood. The blood in it was about 5 centimeters high. It was a huge pit filled with bones, human bodies, and dead animals' bodies. The bones looked like a large mass graveyard. I held my breath tightly and squeezed myself between the corpses, hoping they wouldn't find me because I would become another body, and no one will ever know about me.
And this was the end of our video. I hope you subscribe to watch the rest of the story next time. Thank you for watching.